Good evening, everybody. Welcome into On the Hunt this evening. Boy, do we have a great show lined up for y'all tonight. I have Trebles Garcia here in the studio tonight. We're going to be taking a deep dive into the things that he's encountered out in Los Angeles, including an elf encounter. And he has a very interesting family lineage that may involve a skinwalker. And it's a type of skinwalker that I had not heard of, or like a transformation I had not heard of when it comes to this type of animal. And you guys, I am just so excited. We're actually even going to get into a little bit of what's underneath LA and the high strangeness out there. And we're going to talk about some tunnels and underground bases tonight. Woo, we got a lot to discuss. So if you guys would like to follow along with all of my shows, y'all please go over and check out my website. That's the cryptidhuntress.com. You can find all of my shows there, an archive of everything I have done and all the places that I will be, including the Full Disclosure Now conference that's coming up next month, July the 15th through the 18th. And I would love to see you guys there. If y'all would like to join me there, we have a huge lineup of all the biggest, brightest names in disclosure, people with wonderful information, cutting edge information when it comes to disclosure of everything from the secret space program to UFOs, ETs, off-planet living, cryptids, and more. Okay, and if you guys are going to that, please use my discount code. It'll give you a discount, and I think that everybody could use that right now. Okay, so that is the discount code. It's 2025 FDNC Jessica 17. So you guys can find that on my website if you need it. Okay. All right. Well, let's get to our show tonight too. And oh, by the way, I do have a Patreon if you guys are interested, and I have an Etsy shop. It's called War Woman Goods. So thank you guys for all your support, and thank you to all my Hunt Club members here on YouTube as well. You guys are the best. Okay, well, let's get to our show tonight. Let's get to our show. We are living in crazy times, and there's a lot going on today. I hope everybody's safe, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend, and let's get to it. And I hope y'all enjoy the show tonight. All right, so on this episode tonight, we are going on the hunt with Trebles Garcia of Paranoi Radio podcast. We're going to be discussing his shape-shifting family ties, his life-changing encounter with the elf, and we're taking a deep dive into Los Angeles, what's under it, and what it's connected to. Where we're going to connect some big-time dots tonight as well. Trebles Garcia is a revolutionary mind, a truth seeker, father, husband, and creator of Paranoi Radio, a God-fearing man who shatters illusions and exposes hidden realities through firebrand podcasting. Fierce, loyal, and unapologetic, he walks the edge of conspiracy, consciousness, and consequence. An average man with a warrior's soul. Paranoi isn't just a show, it's an awakening, and Trebles is a frequency. And my goodness, I got to spit that out, y'all. Can I talk? Please help me welcome to the show, Mr. Trebles Garcia. What's up?
How's it going? What's going on? Thank you for having me on. It's a blessing.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Cryptid Hunters channel, first of all. Thank you for being here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to thank, if you allow me, I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here today. And I want to thank every single one of you guys for allowing me to enter your space. And thank you so much for sharing your platform. And I'm an excited little bunny today. I got an anxiety attack and it's at 1000%. It hit me. I was like 30 minutes in the bed. I was shaking. I looked pasty white for a minute. Yeah, I was a little nervous, but I'm here now. Let's rock it out.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I am so glad you're here. Don't be nervous. We just have fun over here. And it's Saturday night. You know, when we go
Oh
on the hunt,
yeah.
we just have fun. And I really enjoyed. I know you and I did an interview over on your podcast recently, a couple weeks ago. And I can't wait for that to come out. Please tell everybody about your podcast before we start the show tonight. Where are you from? Where's your podcast?
Well, I'm based in LA, guys. I'm 34 years old. Again, you know, I have two beautiful daughters. The show started about 5 years ago with my best friend. He's a normie, so as soon as I started speaking about the Vatican, he pulled out. The show revolves around conspiracy theories. I had us do a solo dolo show from then on, and it revolves around conspiracy theories, cryptid stories. I even do documentaries of people that have successful lives. So if you guys want like a little, you know, a dose of reality of just how to be a little bit be more passionate and how to revolve around positive people, that's also what we bring up on the show. And now we just we do have an element of government, you know, stuff on it. I sprinkle it around, and sorry if I'm a little nervous and I'm a little stuttering, but guys, yeah, the show, you can find it at paranoiradio.com. And guys, I'm an average dude just bringing the fire up to the mic, and mad shout outs for everybody on the chat.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. You have a wonderful podcast over there, and I know I think I knew you through some of my buddies like Drewski with Cryptid Warfare Podcast, all those guys. I've seen you guys all interacting online and stuff, and we go out in the field and do a little bit of, you know, monster hunting together and have a lot of fun. And so I know we run with the same group of good folks. Okay, really good folks. So yeah, y'all go to paranoiradio.com, please, to go check out all the podcasts and stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Let me say something though, guys. I also want to let you guys know that it is June, Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and you guys don't have to like or subscribe or anything. The first thing that you can do, if you guys have been contemplating or entertaining the idea of suicide, please do not off yourself. Live 10 more seconds of life. Go to the website, and there's a 24/7 lifeline button there where you guys could put your burden on somebody else. All we need you to do is belong. Share the burden to somebody else, and make sure you speak with us, guys. Again, mad love and respect, and thank you so much.
Oh yeah. A lot of, myself included, a lot of people I know have been affected by suicides. Okay, and so thank you for doing that. That is actually wonderful, and thank you for that support, because a lot of people could use it, and so that's wonderful.
Yeah, sometimes just people want to belong and talk to you, know, and we forget that the stuff of life just happens, and we get hit left and right with a lot of negativity. So it's a lot to burden. So guys, again, reach out. We don't need no more weeping mothers and brothers and sisters out there. We need people to uplift each other and live a fulfilled full life, if that's even a word.
Yes, yeah. A fulfilling life. That, you know what, that is 100% right. And we got to all be here for each other and get each other's backs for sure. And so I love that. Well, speaking of having each other's backs, you know, you're living in LA, you know. What is it like right now? Like today was a wild day. I know if you watch the news, it's a lot of, first of all, I'm going to say it's a lot of fear mongering and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I just kept the TV off all day. I was working too hard on this. Okay. And all my shows and stuff, to pay attention. But if we were to listen to the news right now, it sounds like there's a lot of chaos and riots and strife and stress going on out there. What's the temperature right now out there?
Okay, so it's cooling down, but I'm going to admit the last 7 days have been exhausting for a lot of people, including myself. In fact, and this is not a political podcast, and I'm not going to mention what you should be doing and who you should be voting for, but I am going to say this. If we allow these people to play on our emotions, we're going to continue being divided. And that's what happened even with my people. I'm going to be honest with you. I am brown, but just because I'm brown, a lot of the people that share my same skin tone color, they think I have to share their same belief and thought patterns. And what happens is that they get confused and emotionally unstable, mixed with a lot of drugs and alcohol, and they come and start making a ruckus, get me there, mayhem in the streets, destroying the same cities that protect you, destroying the same people that build these businesses around you to feed your family and feed their own family, same people that came from your same background. But the point is, yes, the temperature is pretty hot, and what you see in the media is always orange man bad, and obviously divide and conquer. If they keep us divided and not really unifying like crabs in a freaking bucket, they're going to control the outcome every single time. So yeah, it's pretty hot out here. I live in the flats. So I could hear, like right now, you could hear the cars just swimming by, people going on drums, popping fireworks, M80s, and then you see the cops running up and down. So it is a heavy, not only a heavy topic on the emotions, but also in the streets. I keep it I stay inside. My family ain't home right now, so I stay inside. The Beretta's out and just kicking it inside. You know?
Getting ready to launch some freedom fries if needed. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's how we roll over here in Georgia as well. In my humble abode. Okay. So yeah, we're always on the ready. We always got to watch out for our families and stay safe out there, y'all. And I know somebody had just mentioned, well, Mike said something about curfew ass whooping time. Okay. There's actually, so not at this moment. I don't want to get into this yet, but like I was going to talk in a little while about, there's like a square mile, like a perfectly square block of LA that's kind of been, I don't want to say quarantine, but it's like we'll go there a little bit tonight at some point, because we got to wonder like why this area is shut down. They act like it's part of the riots, but I had a friend of mine who sent me some really interesting information this morning. He sent me a message about that and was telling me, he said, actually, I was part of a program where we built an underground. So we worked on an underground city right there. That's the entrance to an underground city, he told me.
Shut the front door, dude.
Yes, we're going to go there tonight. Okay. So, because it ties into the underground lizard people city. Now, I don't know. Are you even familiar with the underground lizard people city that was found back in the 1930s?
I did some light research on it after you told me to prepare it. And I was like, okay, what happened? So I threw it on ChatGPT and she told me a lot of different things. But no, I heard that there was some golden tablets, some cave systems, collapsed systems under by downtown in the hills, but nothing about an entrance in the fashion district where I think that Square Mile is at. It's very interesting.
Yeah, they were saying it was like Skid Row, I think. Skid Row was there, and I've got a list. The art district, the fashion district, and Skid Row, and a place where there's a whole lot of underground activity going on there, they said. But I'll tell you why there's all this underground activity going on out there. Oh, really? I have some good friends in the chat tonight, too.
Yo, by the way, 33 years ago, the riots happened, and that's a very significant number also. If you guys want to put it into context, 1992 to 2025, and it happened around the same area of the town, too. So this is very cultic. The number games don't play, baby. I'm just saying.
Okay. Well, that would have been back. I hate to... Y'all are gonna know how old I am when I say this, but I remember back when I was in high school, I think, and that was like when the Rodney King stuff happened, and I mean, that was rough.
The area that you're mentioning is it's known to have a lot of I want to say paranormal elements into it, because that's exactly where the Cecil Hotel is as well. We just spoke about the Cecil Hotel right now, and it's one of the most haunted places in America. So things are playing up. That's a portal right there. That entire building is one giant freaking Stargate or Gate Star. You know what I meant.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you told me some stuff about that Cecil Hotel thing that I'd never heard before. And I'm sure you've done a podcast on it. Am I right? Surely you have. Okay. Well, y'all go listen to that podcast. It's probably not safe for work. So I'm going to say the stuff you were telling me. It was NSFW, I think it's that acronym, because of the condition that poor woman was found in and everything. And that's wild. Lots of high strangeness there. As a matter of fact, what my sweet friend Heidi Pop, she's out of Los Angeles. She's an actress and had a catering company and has worked hand in hand with a lot of, famous people. She's famous herself, in my opinion. Okay. But she's worked with a lot of people, and she came on my show over at Spaced Out Radio a while back, and we talked about, reptilian shapeshifters and stuff. And, and people, that happens out there. I'm assuming. I used to go party in LA. Okay. Like twice a year out with one of my best friends. We went to VIP parties and stuff. No Diddy, y'all. Okay. Not that kind of stuff. It wasn't that. We went
no baby oil involved.
No, just dancing. Okay. And DJs and stuff. We had fun. We had a lot of fun. But anyways, I used to go out there, and it's I'm not a huge fan of the downtown LA vibe. There's something off about it. To me, it just didn't feel good. It felt kind of artificial, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you get that vibe when you go downtown?
Yeah, I try to stay away. I only go there to pick up on clothes, or sometimes whenever. But I hardly go to downtown, because at the end of the day, if you guys know LA the way I know LA, guys, the culture comes from South LA. We're that's where all the Chicano culture, the Black culture comes in, the music. That's where we all really unite. The chugs, the pro clubs and the music. That's where it all comes from. Downtown LA is mostly rich people and homeless, a combination of the both, right? And then the very thin line that people walk. But I didn't know that there was downtown entrances in this area. What I do do know is that there was people talking about having downtown, what's it called? Underground subway systems where only the rich can extract themselves and put themselves in and out. And they even have one, an underground Starbucks just for themselves. So it's really, many of the theories that have been coming out of that area.
What they call like a black label Starbucks or black card Starbucks or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, that guy was like, he was like, he had to sign like an NDA or something, and he couldn't even talk about it when he was working there. But I mean, there's, the pictures that if you look up, okay, so I looked up today, like on a Google or DuckDuckGo search, underground LA, and this is the kind of stuff they want us to think is down there. So this is underground LA, according to, Google or whatever. But guess what? They have full out cities underneath your feet right there. Full cities. I mean, it's nothing like what they have us think it is.
You've seen The City of Amber, the movie The City of Amber?
No, I haven't.
It's like a little kid movie, but it's based on an underground city. And it's funny. In the 1930s, the metropolitan area of LA, the greater area of LA, decided to go with automotives instead of underground subways, kind of like how the New York system did. So it's funny, why would we not move forward with public transportation underground? Instead, we built on top, and then at a certain point, we had one of the most sophisticated freeway systems in the world, and that was one of the trashiest, obviously, but still, it's why didn't we go underground? Maybe, perhaps, because there's underground things and catacombs that we didn't want to tap into again or disturb.
No, it's because we're already down there. And some of us normie folks, us poppers are like, we're not allowed to go down there. That's for a certain class of people, I guess. It's for all the rich people and government officials or whoever. And us simple folk have to live up on top of the earth.
LA is a hotbed, man. We are on the 33rd parallel. It's very, it's a very interesting area to be in at night. And the only reason that we can't see the stars or any activity of UFO activity in the stars or in the sea is because of the light population. We're too busy staring at our phones. Yep, the City of Fallen Angels. Yeah. Mad shoutouts to Hank.
What's up, Hank? Thank you. Yeah, the City of Fallen Angels. I said, yeah. Oh my gosh. I was just thinking, they got those hat, like, I guess it's like an LA Dodgers hat or something. And like, there's one where like the LA is upside down. And so people are like, oh, that's the fallen angels and stuff. It's very symbolic. I don't know.
The Dodger Stadium allegedly is at the peak. It's one of the peak entrances of the snake cave system, I've heard.
The snake caves? You mean like the underground lizard people city?
Yeah. So it's one of the oldest stadiums in baseball, in the baseball league. So I'm not a sports guy, guys. I'm just giving you what I briefly read, but I did find out that that's one of the main entrances to that cave system.
Okay, well, good, wonderful. Okay, and we'll some of the information I got today was that actually when they were building, and I'm talking about government contracts. Okay, I'm assuming this is government contracts, y'all. They actually went in to go build some of these underground cities and to bore holes. I mean, I was told that they actually worked from like 1982 to 1984 nonstop, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, boring holes all out underneath Los Angeles, not only Los Angeles, but going all over the place. I think it's like LA to Vegas or something, or somewhere in Nevada. Anyways, it was a big project. Okay. And they were actually intersecting, drilling adjacent to the lizard. They didn't say lizard people city, caverns, but they said ancient caverns that were already down there. Okay. So there's a lot, y'all. There's a lot down there that, they've known about it for a long time. And
I could only imagine what happened during the gold rush. What more they would have found, man? I swear I could have done more of a deep dive, man. Yeah.
No, it's all good. I've got more information on it, but you have had your own experiences out there in LA. And shout out to Drewski with Cryptid Warfare. What's up, Drew?
Shout outs, Drewski.
Yeah. What's up?
Total badass.
He is.
Yeah.
He's a big time badass. Okay, so you told me something after we did our interviews, last week, whenever. It has not aired yet, y'all, but it will. You told me off air. You said, "Well, I've had an encounter that changed. It kind of changed your life a little bit, right?" You said it was with something that was not human out there in LA. And I would love to hear about that tonight.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna start off with this. I understand and 100% believe in my heart that that entity was there to catapult me, if I were to push me off the ledge, to become more of a dark arts practitioner. And I didn't, thank God. But I know for a fact that that was there to trigger that in me, because of my childhood trauma, because of the trauma of the generations before me. And guys, this is nothing that I evoke, nothing that I say that I am. I don't take any pride in saying these stories. I don't, but I do share them because people are hiding it behind their own stories, and people think that it's fake. You know, people think that they're crazy. Well, guess what? I'm crazy too. Let's be crazy together. But I'm gonna say this: I was 22 years old, fresh out of jail, when I noticed that I seen an elf. I was adopted at 12 years old by a Mexican family, and then this is all going to come full circle. My mom shared a story with me in Guadalajara and my mom, my adoptive mother, she shared a story about the accordion of el acordeón del duende, which means the elf's accordion. This man he freshly married man. He impregnated his wife. He was an accordion player, and they would call him up to go play the accordion at different weddings. So he went to the wedding, he played his accordion, and then he decided to take the back alleys. Now, if you know anything about Mexico, the alleys are not lit up, bro, like our alleys. You know, even the darkest alley in LA is probably still lit up by one light post. But in Mexico, they don't. There's a lot of dirt out there. So he took the back alleys to not go through the center of Guadalajara. And as 30 minutes into the walk, he got stopped by 6 little elves. Once he got stopped, they told him, hey, we're going to trade you money and riches if you play music for us. He started playing his accordion, and I'm trying to go a little fast because I want to get to the point of me. He started playing this accordion, and then 10 years passed by. He woke out of this trance with his feet dirty, blisters, hair in his chin, and his accordion on his chest. He walked towards his house in the morning, and then he noticed that the gates were different. The front door changed color. He knocks on the window, and then his wife comes up, and she's pregnant again. 10 years passed by. She's like, Emilio, where you been all this time? Where are you? What happened? He goes, I just got back from the wedding. And they start talking to each other, engaging. I don't know where her husband at the time comes back, and now she's remarried. She has another boy. And he's looking at her like, what happened? Why did you move on? What happened to me? I don't know what's going on. And then out of nowhere, she calls in Emilio. She calls in the kid, the oldest son, which is his son, before he got lost in time. The kid comes out, and he looks at his son, and he's grinning at Emilio, the father. And his oldest son looks just like the leader of the elves that stopped him. So the elves didn't only stop time and stole his time, but stole his seed to do, I don't know, unimaginable things with his seed. At this point, the dude went crazy. He became the drunk of the village drunk. He carved the faces of all 6 duendes on the accordion. He gifted out the accordion, but he spent 30 years walking that same path every night, playing that accordion, trying to relive and reactivate that scenario so that he could go back into time and regain what he lost. My mom told me that story after I saw the duende. My mom she didn't tell me that it was one of his family members. She just told me that this is an ancient myth, one of those old stories of the town. So what happened was, I was 22, fresh out of jail. I was sober, came out, and then I got home. I was sharing rooms with one of my brothers back then, and my brother went off to Texas chasing some girls. I was by myself. It was a full moon. I remember just having one of those comfortable stares, and I seen the light gleaming into the bed where he left a pile of dirty clothes. So I'm just one of those. Have you ever had one of those comfortable stares where you're just like, just staring into the nothingness, just waiting to go to sleep? Well, I was having one of those. Yeah. And then, so I'm prepping my brain. I'm trying to go to sleep. And I see out of nowhere that the top of that little mound of dirty clothes moved. And then at the moment, I'm like, okay, what the heck? So I'm like, no. The little crazy voice in my head is telling me like, dude, you're tripping, bro. You're not seeing anything, man. There's nothing there. And then I notice that it moves again. And at this time, we lock eyes. Now, I'm telling you something. I'm gonna have a little stone here just so you guys could use as reference. That's a tiny little stone. He was about this height, and his head took up about the size of his entire body. It looked like if he would walk, he would tilt of how heavy his head was. And he looked just like me, just really old. He looked like a brownie. Later on, I did some investigation and research on what it was. But he was wrinkled. He had like little patches of white hair. Ugly little dude, bro. Jumps behind my drawers and the TV. And then in a split second, he looks at me from the side of the TV, and we lock eyes. At this point, I'm shocked. I'm just following him with my face, just locking him, right? And out of nowhere, he pulls back and he looks at me one more time. Right before he pops his little head out. He looks at me, and then he dashes out the door like magic. You can't even hear. But I saw his little body jump and run, like bounce off the floor. So then, as soon as that happened, my father opens the door to his room, cracks it open, walks out, goes to the restroom, and I waited all night to see him again. Fell asleep, woke up like around 8 a.m., and I went directly to my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I saw a duende, Mom. And she's like, she turns around and she looked at me, she goes, Ay, estás loco. I'm like, no, Mom, I saw a duende. So that means like, no, you're crazy. And then I told her, Mom, look at me, I saw something. And she looks at me, she goes, you saw a duende? Yeah. She goes, mijo, don't talk about it. Don't say anything. Don't leave offerings. Don't mention it again. Forget about it. It might just come back. You'll be lucky if you see him again. That's it. He lets you see him. That's it. Let it go. And that story is as vivid in my brain. Like if it happened last night. Like if I dreamt it today when I fell asleep for a nap. It's one of those moments where you're like, what? I told my brothers, I told everybody in my house, and nobody believed me except for my mom. And she was like, mijo, I used to see him. I used to see a group of duendes play behind the barn in Mexico and jump off from the bushes and play in the water. I used to go and throw pesos at them because they like shiny things. I told my mom, you're freaking nuts. Rest in peace, Mom. But she gave me the security I needed to believe that I did see something. And I truly believe now that scenario, if I would have been motivated in a negative or impacted me in a negative way, I probably would have gone off the deep end of the pool, like I always say on Paranoi Radio, and I would have look up how to do more dark arts and invoke these demons. Now, I'm going to say something like this. I'm going to put it like this, guys. I'm not ashamed where I come from, but I do not want to be like my ancestors. Let's just hypothetically say that my ancestors were freaking skinwalkers and they have been possessed, or they did dive deep into the black arts. I was not trying to evoke that upon myself. I'm trying to break the chains. By all means, I'm not saying that I am gifted, that because I could lucid dream and control my dreams. I'm not gifted at all, guys. I don't want to be part of that, because what I'm trying to do is walk the righteous path and not evoke those demons on me. I want that chain to be broken for myself and my generations after. So it's very important that we put that out. But yes, that elf changed my life, and I've never seen him again.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. You're the first person that I have met or even had on the show that has had an encounter like that ever. I've heard stories, but not firsthand accounts actually of that. I want to thank Jackie Barnes for the, gifting those 5 Cryptid Hunters memberships to the audience tonight. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate that. Okay. So when you say that you could have, when this happened to you, you could have explored the darker side of all of this, because it probably brought out some kind of primal, ancestral, energy of some way, because you do have throughout your bloodline, there are stories about your grandmother, correct? Your great grandmother.
Yes.
Actually potentially being a shapeshifter of some sort.
Potentially, yes. And I'm not, again, guys, disclosing this out right now. So my parents are from Guatemala, and I'm gonna jump into that story right now.
Okay.
My genetic parents. And so my mom is number 11 of 14 kids. So my grandmother pooped her out, basically grabbed her, threw her with the placenta and everything, just all the cables, and then threw her into the trash. My great grandmother picked her up. Now, my grandmother used to have medium parties where people would come and exchange juices and ask for parasites to be removed and balls of hairs to be removed out of their mouth, like freaking voodoo, like full on curandera, botanica, shape-shifting lady. She was known for this. She was a very powerful lady. So my mom went crazy with her. My mom saw how she would have medium parties and have demon style people, messages and talk to the dead. And I'm using big quotations here. And one night, my mom said that she would leave every night when she would do favors for these families. She would have sex with these men, and then she would go at night and become a hog. She would shapeshift into a wild hog and murder the man as a sacrifice. This happened 15 times before she got stoned to death in her village. And still to this day, if a woman gets caught cheating with a married man, they stone that woman to death. They scalp her, they drag her on the floor. People take matters into their own hands. And this is real. You guys can look it up. The village is called Zacapa, Hualan Zacapa in Guatemala. And the story is alive because my mom, it's alive through my mom, because after that, my mom told me that after she would shapeshift, my great-grandmother would come back and she would be younger. Long, silky black hair. So you could only tell she was doing the sacrifices to maintain yourself relevant, live forever, using biometric, using powerful rituals to not only sacrifice more souls to the horned one, but to stay younger.
Oh my gosh. We talk about that when it comes to the A word. It rhymes with Google Chrome. Okay. That kind of stuff. I don't usually say that word on YouTube because of YouTube, of course. This is for entertainment purposes only tonight, y'all. Okay. Everyone who's listening. But my goodness, that is it's tragic. It's very sad that happened, but it's also fascinating. It's also very fascinating that would be part of, part of your family.
Yeah, my mom she used to sleep in a hammock, and she used to have long, silky black hair, and she would throw her hair over the hammock at night, and in the morning, her hair would be braided by the spirit of her grandmother after she died. My mom went crazy for a while, and then she started doing the medium parties. My mom used to sacrifice her own vaginal juices to do like rituals. My mom used to tell me that she lost her virginity to a tree trunk doing a ritual once. I don't know how that connects, guys. I'm word of mouth here, right, guys? One story to another story. But yeah, my mom went crazy for a while. Then she was gonna get stoned also, and she left the country because of the things that she was doing. She lived in Texas for a bit, and then came to here in California when she met my father. Crazy stuff.
Thank you for sharing that with us. That is it's definitely the darker side of the dark arts. Okay, and we've touched on it quite a bit, so to speak. And I've had my good friend William Nighthawk talk to us about this before, and he talks about it on his channel too, Nighthawk High Strangeness. If you guys want to go check that out, talking about, I actually consulted with him before we went to the Skinwalker cave up in Tennessee, and he gave me some private information on what to do to protect ourselves and how to handle those situations if we did come in contact with something that was kind of supernatural. And it actually it paralleled kind of like hunting vampires, actually, when it came to those types of entities. And he told us, he's talked about how his mother was a dark witch. And I've had my own encounters with potential S-walkers and things like that up in North Carolina. So that is definitely the darker side. And no one's ever like come full out and been like talked about like exactly how that works, on our shows and stuff. I mean, because it can get really, really dark, and it involves, shape-shifting and the black magic of it. It really does involve really dark things like unaliving your family members and people that you love, and things like that. So
yeah. Which is why, like I said, I'm not trying to evoke or say that I'm gifted at all, or any, by all means, I am not trying to evoke any of those demons. But that elf was there to make me pivot, and it didn't work. It probably made me pivot the other way. But I could guarantee you right now that it probably would have woken up something inside of me. And all I needed to do was do more research. Who was it? Where do they come from? Oh, how can I evoke it? What can I do to bring them back? And all those things. And then sooner or later, I'm doing some dark arts as well, following the same tragic trauma, generational curses in my life.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. So the little people, first of all, let me say thank you, Kent Baxter. I'm glad you're here too. And I hope you're doing okay. And I hope you're feeling good. Thank you for that super sticker. I really appreciate you. So the little people, I've talked about them. I know I had Fred roll with subarctic Alaska Sasquatch came on the show, and He's a Kyriung elder native up in Alaska, and he told us encounter stories of people that he knows that had the little people or duendes actually came into their homes and showed up on their doorsteps at night and things like that. So, that's about, I mean, we've talked about them other times as well, but those encounters were pretty interesting. Yours is the most interesting out of all of them because it's a firsthand encounter. Okay.
Yeah. And the only one I've ever had and lives inside of me, I swear. You know, it's funny. I didn't see no Oz fact. I do remember that it was a full moon and the moon was blasting through the window, the moonlight. But I am going to say that it connects with the story with my mom, my adoptive mother told me, because the loss of time, generational seeds, right? The corruption of the seed. It's a spiritual warfare, if you ask me. And he was one of those victims. So he was taken. He said the Oz factor happened. In fact, from the area where my parents are from Guatemala, in the Yucatan Peninsula, you'll notice that they have this mysterious thing called mal vientos, which means terrible winds. And in the cave system, now I did a deep dive on the Olmecs and how they were using biometrics to tap into the Earth's algorithm so that they could bypass, avoid judgment, and then upgrade themselves into the realm, into the algorithm of the Earth. They were trying to move up to the next dimension, not necessarily pray to Quetzalcoatl and the sun gods. They were trying to pray within, go inside. This is what my research is bringing in. And it's coincidentally also, it happens in the Yucatan Peninsula. Now, all the cave systems, going back to the cave systems, all the cave systems in the Yucatan Peninsula connect, and they have underwater pockets of liquid mercury, liquid obsidian, gold, and all of these are conductors of these pulsating areas with electricity underground. And I think they were able to manipulate not only the pulsating, but the magnetic frequency that the Earth is pulling out of those pockets. And they were able to tap into it. Now, if you think about, now I'm gonna get a little conspiratorial here. If you think about all the things that we are trying to do, every king, every emperor, every single person that's been in power tries to have their name echo by erecting statues and putting themselves into the history books because they're obsessed by living forever, right? Mm-hmm. And what is it that the big technocratic people want us to be? They want us to be injected with technology and put us back into technology. Where? In a dimension of a digital world. Yeah. So we're obsessed with living in the other dimension and living forever. We're obsessed with being controlled and being with Stockholm syndrome, and that's what they were trying to tap into. Just my belief. So malvientos is one of the things that happens is that some of the natives of the area, when they go into these pockets and they don't ask permission to the spirits to enter those caves, they go into the caves and they come back out with stutters, white hair. They age backwards. Their organs are older than their bodies. They die in a few weeks after cancers and ulcers in different parts of the body. So that's what they call malvientos. It's like you got cursed the moment you walked in there without having the permission of the spirits.
Oh man, we hear about that with like portals too, and I guess that's what you're talking about, really. Portals. I mean, what is a portal? You know what I mean? It could be pretty much anything. But one of my research teams we researched at this place we call the Meadow, and undisclosed location, but the team was documenting what looked to be like a big square cube in the middle of the field, and you can only see it through the thermals. And they sent two of our teammates over there to go check it out. And they disappeared. Their heat signatures disappeared when they got into it. And and we call that the portal incident. And then they walked out of it and they reappeared. And it's on the video. It's not all over the internet right now, but we've got it. And,
have you heard of the Eye of the Sahara? Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Eye of Sahara.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
That's huge. You could only see it from satellite, but when people walk in, their compasses don't work. The magnetic field makes sure that all electronics, get blown out of the water. There's no use of technology there. And then you walk in a circle. It's like you can never make it through a cross. You only walk into a circle and then come back. You come back out the same way that you came in, even if you walk on a straight line. It's huge, man. It plays a huge factor. I think it plays on your your senses. I don't know, your nervous system. I don't know. It just plays a big role on confusion.
It does. Well, I was going to say that both of the gentlemen that went into that portal with our team, they've both passed away now. And I know there's also we don't blame their deaths on that. But we are highly suspicious, and so were they. Okay, at least Bob was. that, a heart, one of them got a heart condition and he was way too young for that. And the other got an aggressive form of cancer, and they both passed away since.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nothing to be played with out there. Nothing to be played with at all.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Just to answer the question that Aventa Sativa said, yeah, creepy as hell, which brings me back to that point. Yo, why would they want to steal his seed? Emilio had to do some type of sacrifice, some type of ritual for them to say, I'm not only going to give you the time, but as I play my music, you are going to go into my wife's womb and then inject yourself into my kid somehow and then take over my seed. Like, bro, they took your kid from you, bro. You saw his face and it was the same duende that took your life, bro. It's yeah, man.
That
Intense.
is so wild. That's really deep. When you first started talking about the story, I was like, it really reminded me of Rip Van Winkle out of the Catskill Mountains. It was a gentleman who got in a fight with his wife. She was nagging him. She was just he just couldn't get away from her. Okay, so he had to go take a walk out in the woods up in the Catskill Mountains of New York. And people say this is a true story, but I don't know. But they said that he got out there and he encountered some little people, and they had like kegs of beer or some kind of drink with them, and they enticed him to go drink with them. He was helping them carry their barrels, and he got up the mountain, and the next thing he knows, he wakes up the next day and he's got a long beard, and it's like 80 years later or something like that. Just all these decades later, and he walks back to his house, everything's changed, and his family's grown, and it's just wild. It's kind of reminded me of that a little bit, but it's different. It's also different.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, the kid looked like the little guy.
The kid looked like the duende that officially told him, play the music for me, and I will dance with you. We'll walk with you.
Oh my gosh. Man. Well, okay, so also the little people are also tricksters, elves. Okay, any kind of an elf, a gnome, a troll, anything like that, the fae, basically, duendes. They can be tricksters, and they can either help you or they can hurt you. Okay, so that was your fork in the road. That was your fork in the road. It was probably sent there to see just which direction you were going to go in. It'll help you or hurt you, and you pick the side. Sometimes, you know what? Here's the thing. It's like even today, we all the time has come where we all have to pick a side. Sorry, it is what it is. Sometimes you have to, and riding the fence ain't gonna work anymore. Okay, and you picked your side. I'm proud of you actually for doing that. Yeah, because there are a lot of people. I think people would be shocked to know how many people do choose the dark side.
It's very easy.
Yeah,
it's very easy to go there because at the time I didn't even have kids. You could think whatever you want, but at the end of the day, I didn't have nothing to motivate me, man. I was fresh out of jail. I could have sold my soul so fast to have money in my pocket, dude. I have I had nothing going for me. It would have been easier for me to just say, you know what, I'm gonna search this up. You know what, I'm gonna dive deep into this and then start doing some satanic stuff. I have people that told me so many times. I was at this place called Crawford's one time in the city of El Monte where I grew up here in LA and in the county of LA. And I was getting an oil change once. She came up to me. She goes, I knew your mother. I was like, looked at her. She was an old little lady. I was like, I thought she was crazy. Like, I know your mother. She goes, you should get close to your mother. You should talk to your mother. And I'm like, okay, well, my real mother, by the way, because she's been in another country and I haven't contacted her in almost 20 years. So I looked at her and I was like, what the heck? And I tripped out. She's like, yeah. And she says she loves you. Like, she started telling me things that I wanted to hear. Maybe I felt lonely. Maybe it's because it was like a play on words. But these demons, they've been here for a very long time. They know exactly what you want. They know exactly what your parents want. The people behind you want throughout all this time. And they're going to tell you and entice you with many different lies so that they can push you off that edge. That's what I'm saying. Try to make you get closer to the dark arts. And a lot of people do it, man. A lot of people do it.
You know what? That's why my circle has gotten very small. Okay. Because you know what? There comes a time where we do have to make a choice, and I could have gone down a very dark path myself at some point. Okay. I've had a lot of trauma in my life. A lot of us have. And I could have gone down a dark path. And there are people, unfortunately, for those of us that don't go down the dark path, we choose the light path. Okay. The good path. go out and be a good person and, you know, be the light and all that kind of stuff, and help other people and don't hurt people. Sometimes the dark will infiltrate and get into the people that are closest to us and like come after us and things like that. So you just got to be mindful about people around you, right?
Talking about mindful, and I hope you don't mind that I'm going to pivot this into the conversation that we were having on my show. This is very interesting because I exposed to you that I've been very, very active in the dream realm. I've been so active, dude. I could go if I'm in a good mood, intent is everything. If I'm in a really good mood and I want like, damn, I want to live my vision today. I go to sleep and I live my vision. I live like in a different realm. I could control my dream, but I'm exhausted the next day. And then sometimes I could even wake up, go drink some water, come back, and then jump right where I left off. And then for the next 2 hours, keep simulating that dream in my head. My body's asleep, but my brain isn't. So when I wake up the next day, I'm like, dude, I still have that beautiful mood, but I'm exhausted. Like I could go to sleep and just knock out, you know, but like there's days that, so my question is, why does that linger? Is it bad that I'm diving into that practice? And I'm not, by all means, I'm not saying I'm a master or I've been taught. No, I haven't been in no training. This is just something that I do because I'm able to do it. And just now I'm speaking with somebody that has been doing it for a very long time. Mm-hmm. Yourself.
First of all, I don't think there's anything wrong with experimenting with how you interact in your dreams and things like that. I think it's important that we do that because we are more than just this physical body. Okay. We are not just humans in this 3D reality. You know, you and I both, are able to kind of have one foot in this dimension, and then, you know, be fully aware of our lives in the other dimension, our soul. You know, we're multidimensional beings. Okay. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, some of us work more in our dreams than we do in this life. Okay. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But see, there are people who have knowledge, let's call it secret knowledge or occult knowledge. Mm-hmm. And they know how to come in and attack you during your dreams when your body is in the astral and things like that. So you have to be very mindful of that. Because there are people, not everybody, like we've stated, not everyone has chosen the path of good. Okay. Some people do choose the darker path, and it's all about control and power. Okay.
Is it something, I'm sorry that I'm asking you the question. Like
please don't apologize.
Is it something that we're all born with, but some of us are more sensitive to it, kind of like Star Wars and the Force? Mm-hmm. Is it something like that, or is it more? I mean, I'm assuming because this is what the elites tell us. They tell us what's happening through entertainment, right? And I'm just paranoid, guys. I'm just a conspiracy theorist. I'm talking crap.
Oh yeah. But well, see, they use that against the masses. They use that against us. Well, people being unaware and not knowing. They absolutely look at all those people that go to those concerts, like that Travis Scott concert and stuff. I mean, Beyonce and stuff. No shade to her. Okay, I'm just saying. Yeah, they hypnotize you. Okay, like people get hypnotized. The music, there's secret frequencies, things that we can't hear, that we can't comprehend consciously, but it's in our subconscious, and it's hypnotizing, and it's putting in, you know, memories and thoughts and, you know, programming, you know, without us knowing it.
Yeah. They're programmed and then attuning that nice, beautiful, fine frequency to make sure that they control your habits, your emotions, and everything that you consume. You know, what's funny that you mentioned partying, but going back to LA full circle, yeah. I in 2008, I assisted my first rave, and I raved all the way to 2017. And I was a livid raver, bro. That's why I got my freaking name, Trebles. Benny Panasa.
That's how I knew you. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, maybe you were a raver too.
No, but I was the generation before you, actually. So okay. Yeah, I'm obviously older than you. I already had a kid by the time you were raving. Okay, so
yeah. Well, yeah. My last rave in 2017 at EDC in Vegas, I went sober on the last day, and I'm gonna tell you, I seen people's demons out, bro, through the backside of their head, like they have two faces. I've seen one demon licking the neck of a girl and dry humping her, like on her back. like attached to her. Like I've seen so many different things. In fact, while I was getting a light show with I know I did, guys, I like to say, and hopefully people don't get mad that I'm gonna say this, but this is fake and gay. All right, guys, just like space and all the freaking stuff. But I'm gonna tell you something right now. When I was getting a light show and I was so induced of ecstasy, I sat back and I couldn't get out of the trance. Like my eyes rolled back, and the guy was giving me a thing, like a light show with his hands. But he was laughing at me at the same time. Like the demon was laughing at me that I was so induced in his trance. And that's why the next day I left sober. And I'll tell you something. I've seen so many things. I've seen how the light shows, the fireworks, the beat of the sound. I noticed how when I was high, when the beat would hit, everybody would just wave and be in unison and synchronized. And I felt my skin, the hairs on my skin just lift up. And we were all in that same frequency at the same time, ready to worship. In fact, one of the songs that woke me up is called Black by Showtek. And when the beat that has two rises, a 7-minute song, 7-minute song is pretty long. The second rise, when the beat stops and all the lights drop, it tells you, now you're going to hear the voice from the abyss tell you how you're going to obey. Fear, you have to face your fear and obey. And I know it's just for show, but it's not. It's not just for show. It's one of those things that is created for you to be induced and also be manipulated. When you leave those places, you don't leave those places fulfilled. You leave those places messed up. You have withdrawals. You think you escaped. Yeah, you escaped into a darker reality, into a darker realm. And quite frankly, it's only about the drugs there and about the sex. It's all about the sin. It's not even about enjoyment anymore. And you know how I know? Because I went sober on the last day and I seen those freaking demons sober. It wasn't like I was high. You know, that's when you see the reality.
Yeah, nothing like being at a rave sober, looking around and being like, oh man, that is when people do drugs and things like that, and even drink too much. We talk about blacking out. You know, I did a show on the casket girls, the vampires out in New Orleans last week. And we're talking about like how entities will take over a vessel, a body, a human body. And it's when we're, blackout drunk or on, ecstasy or whatever, any kind of drug, whatever, especially at those raves and stuff as well. You open yourself up to be taken over by dark entities. And if you don't think that all these celebrities and DJs, and I'm not talking about grassroots DJs, friends, I've got a lot of DJ friends. Okay. Grassroots, probably not so much, but the big names, okay, if you don't think that they're not working with like 3-letter agencies and stuff, and they're not programming the masses, I mean, they're all parts of these ritualistic shaluminatis, as I call it, and doing sacrifices and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm not saying they all are, but it's a possibility, and this is for entertainment purposes only. Again, I need to state that.
Why do you think people die in those places while everybody else is dancing? Think about the humanity, right? You want to think about the humanity. You guys got so lost that people are dying at your foothold, bro. Dying at the entrance because they're so drugged up, and you're still gonna go party. You're still gonna bob your head. You're still gonna have sex. Think about what happened, bro. This is all sacrificial. Oh, because he died, I don't have to stop my fun. Yeah, they just that's what it means. They divided and controlled, and every single soul that fell that day was a sacrifice for their entertainment.
That's right. It's just it's history repeating itself. Okay, people mass sacrifices and things like that. And Christopher, I thought that your message here said laser magic at first. I was thinking raves and lasers. Okay. And that's another thing. It's just hypnotic. Okay. And it's the power of suggestion and the hypnosis of it all and the subliminal messaging and all that. Once your eyes are open to it, they're open. It's like that movie, They Live. You put on the glasses and you can see everything. You cannot take
great movie, by the way.
Take them off. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's wild. And, yeah, that's funny. I don't ever talk about rave. I used to go to raves. Okay. So yes, I admitted on air, y'all. Yes, I went to raves back in the late 90s. When I say I ran the streets of Atlanta, I mean, like, we went to raves and everything. it was wild. We had a great time. So
Oh yeah.
I've been there, done that. Got the t-shirt. Okay. Got a few t-shirts and had some fun times, but also it's I can see how people can be taken over by that. And I have a lot of friends who didn't make it out alive, literally, out of that. Out of that.
A lot of friends that didn't make it out alive. I mean,
Yeah.
they're alive, but they're just a shell because they've been consumed. People that have sacrificed not only money and time, but even their own children and the happiness of their own children, creating more impact and trauma for the next generation. This is why I said I don't want to evoke that. This is why I said I'm not gifted. This is not a gift, and I'm afraid that even still consuming some of the not consuming, practicing some of the lucid dreaming might lead me into a dark realm, or through that liminal space, I get intercepted by a negative entity, which is extremely important that I avoid. That's why I asked you, maybe some guidance. What do you think? If it's not bad, should I continue doing it? I've been doing it for years, and now it's only getting easier for me to do.
Yeah.
I've never astral projected. I've never seen the future. I never foretold the future. And I kind of want to get into like, oh, I hope I can manifest my future. But I control my dreams so easily. It's like it's fluid, and it's scary at the same time.
It's not scary. You know what? Dreaming is a part of living. And at least, first of all, I'm going to say at least we're dreaming. At least we know we're alive. Okay, but dreaming is so important. I was told one time, because I've been trained in remote viewing for many years, and the person who taught me remote viewing said, the purpose of dreaming. He asked us, and I was like, well, the purpose of dreaming, why do we dream? And I was like, well, I think we dream because we got to sleep and we got to like work out our problems, right? And he was like, well, actually, the purpose, no. Maybe I said that wrong. He said, what is the purpose of sleeping is what he asked. And I said, well, it's because we're tired. We have to rest. He goes, no, you actually, one of the main purposes of sleeping is dreaming. That's how important it is. And we spend at least a third of our 24 hours of a day. A lot of us do. Some of us have more than others, more sleep than others. But we spend a lot of that time. We have to be able to sort out our everyday lives. Okay. We have to be able to sort out our subconscious. Things that happen to us during the day. And I mean, how many times are you in your dreams and you're like, you might have gotten in a fight with somebody and like you're making up and like you're coming to terms with it in your dream state, or like, or somebody passes away that you love and you get to talk with them and you powwow a little bit, and you chop it up in your dream state. And then like you wake up and you don't want to go back. You want to go back to sleep because you want to talk to them some more, that kind of stuff. It's important that you dream. Okay. And I would say that it is wonderful that you're able to actually have some control in your dreams and remember them.
It's kind of like that movie, Friday the 13th, right? How you could even get murdered in your dreams. It's funny because people look at it like, oh, it's a movie. It's not just a movie, and it's not just entertainment, guys. I'm freaking paranoid all day. Music, the frequency, the repetition, the echoing of the words. They keep telling you how to behave. They keep telling you how to move, how to ingest, how to be a consumer, how to be a spectator. It's every single day through the movies. They're not only predictive programming, but they're also telling you what they do, what you're gonna like, how they're gonna take over your time, how not to collect rainwater because it's illegal in California. It's a freaking crime to collect rainwater. They disconnect you from the ground. You can't be grounded. You can't grow food. You don't even know where to start to find seeds. Every single fruit that you consume is a genetically induced one that's already chemically imbalanced. They fuck up your sorry if I'm cursing. They mess up your hormones. You don't even know what the science. There's this thing now that's blowing up, and it's called the light therapy. And I just did an episode about it, and it's freaking huge. Light therapy is one of the most ancient things that has been exposed to the world. Red light therapy, blue light therapy, and I have this thing saying that if you can get vitamin D through the sun, and you could get cancer being fixed and being removed from your body and your cells with red light therapy. Imagine what blue light does to you using these things, the phone, the laptop, the CPUs. Imagine if they can control some type of your like your emotions, not only emotions, but play on your hormones and make you gay using blue light. Huh.
Oh yeah.
Trippy, huh?
And all the stuff in our water systems and all the chemicals and all that stuff. Yes, we just talked about the blue lights the other day. Gosh, who was I talking about that with? I can't remember. Anyways, we had a full out conversation about the blue lights and how dangerous that is. and how it was Mark. It was Cryptoville. He's in the chat. What's up, Mark?
What's up, Mark?
And he was here. I think that was last weekend. Actually, we were talking about the blue lights and the mind control. It's all about the mind control aspect as well.
Yeah.
And the Blucifer. I mean, it's kind of symbolic of Lucifer at Denver Airport, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even that too. The Denver Airport has it's over budget and it has a giant footprint of a swastika if you look at it from the top, and it has a lot of caves, a lot of different tonal systems underground. Even Disney has tonal systems and stuff. It's creepy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Disney did their trash, Disneyland, at least here in California, they counted to the T how many steps it takes for somebody to throw their trash away. So they put their trash cans every 20 feet. So that you always have somewhere to throw your trash, and then they have like an underground chute. It's crazy. They're pumping the smells, they're pumping the music, the aura, the emotion. It's just a huge marketing scheme. And they don't only use it for marketing; they also use it to play on your emotions, like I keep saying. You know, so you can keep diving into the hamster wheel of every day and living in a poor life and just messed up habits.
Consume. Obey.
Hey,
Keep buying like junk. Yeah. I mean, the normal average family can't even afford to go to Disney World, pretty much. Okay. So, but yeah, they want you to be able to throw your trash away so your hands are always empty. You can buy more stuff.
Damn,
love that.
That was good. That was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And think about it. Why do you think all these restaurants, not only at Disney but around the world, use the color red, or they play on these sounds, and the way they do their commercials and stuff is because colors also give you some type of dopamine. They make you feel hungry even though you're full. You see a burger and it's colored red, that attracts you right away. There's a reason why red cars it statistically get stopped the most, right? Because people are freaking crazy, and those are colors that play on the mind. So they know how to manipulate all of that stuff. And now I'm wondering, going back full circle with cryptids, how are these animals or beasts or critters bending light to be able to transform or ascend into a different dimension where you and I cannot fathom anymore? How can we reach it? You know, it's crazy.
Well, I've got some ideas on that, because I love this comment from Moondog Davis. What's up, Moondog? Loosh. Yep. That's a big part of what I think is going on in the world today. Okay, are entities that harvest Loosh. And now Loosh is just human or any kind of energy life force. Okay, and Trebles, you know all about Loosh, right? Are you familiar with Loosh?
Yes.
Okay, so Loosh, that's what I think. That's why I don't watch the news anymore. Okay, because we got all this fear mongering going on, and we've got riots and fights and people being divided, and just civil war going on and stuff like that. That's what I think is going on in LA right now. I think it's just a big old Loosh festival, personally. Yeah. And when we try to figure out, like, well, why would they do that? What's going on with that? And I mentioned the news. Like, I don't watch the news anymore. I just did a show. I did some research. My friend Barry Littleton came on the show with me, and we talked about the liquid crystal masks, the advanced nanotechnology that reptilians are said to use as they're broadcasting the news and things like that. Like, people that are broadcasting out to the general public, fear, unalivings every day, people getting assaulted and whatever. There's nothing good on the news. Nothing, ever. And I hadn't watched it in a long time, but there never was.
Liquid crystal masks.
Liquid crystal. Have you ever heard of this?
Never heard of this, bro. But I believe it, because,
Well, you've seen people's faces. Like, here's one of the pictures that I showed. Okay, this is like Jenna Bush or something. Okay, this is W's, one of his daughters. Okay, President W. Bush, and that's and I know. Listen, this is actually really. I used to think this was funny, and I was like, okay, well, why would people even show that? Like, this guy's pupils are getting slitted. Okay, stuff like that. Where their faces start pixelating. Okay, like during the news or during a broadcast. And I've always thought, well, you can't use that as evidence of being a reptilian, because that could be digital cable pixelation. Right? Yeah. And so that's what I've always thought. And I've always said, oh, that's just no proof. And I just kind of poo-pooed it, I guess you could call that. And then this information starts coming out about liquid crystal masks. And I brought Barry on because he's done some extensive research on liquid metals. Okay. And some kind of crystalline, like crystal technology and stuff. And that's actually what this is. They say it's almost like a holographic type of a technology that, when we talk about shapeshifters, you talked about your great grandmother being a potential, let's say, a skinwalker. Okay. And that would be where she actually did shapeshift through dark magic and things like that, where her body would actually shapeshift. Well, this is a little bit different because what they say, and this pertains to Los Angeles, by the way. Okay? Guys, we're bringing this full circle too. All right. The celebrities, political figures, people that have a big audience, podcasters, even, people with big audiences and stuff. They say that some of them are actually reptilian. There's something called the Reptilian Empire. Okay. And that's something that if you, I forgot the name of that man that wrote the book. It was like Project Serpo or something. There's something called Project Serpo. And this gentleman wrote a book. I think his name was Lynn or Les or something like that. Wrote a book about Project Serpo and the Reptilian Empire and how the reptilians are said to have, they pretty much they take over like galaxies, like planets in our galaxy, and make all the inhabitants slaves, but we don't know we're slaves. But my goodness, it sounds like the prison planet that we live on. Okay. And how are they going to keep us all in line if they're not the ones doing it? And how are they going to keep us? Yeah. How are they going to do it without us knowing? Well, they have to disguise themselves. They have to trick us into not knowing who they are or what they are. And then occasionally we get a glimpse of a guy with pointed teeth, on these shows, or we get a guy whose eyes just turn into slits, or we get a news broadcaster who hisses when he gets mad. Stuff that we just would kind of laugh at a few years ago. I would just kind of laugh at it and be like, these people are just mentally ill or something. Okay. But what if they're not? What if they're not? What if Obama had a reptilian security detail with the Secret Service during one of his broadcasts? What if, I think that I'm not going to say it all ties back to things like maybe the lizard people city under Los Angeles, but I mean, where does this end? Where does it start?
Karmic retribution, right? And they have to tell you what they're doing some way in some sort of outlet, so that you could also not only accept it, but then plead for it, ask for it. They chipped us. We chip our kids with this. It's part of our bodies. We can't live without it now. And what happens? Oh, well, you can't live without it? Well, here's another one for $2,000 every year. The same thing. Go buy it. iPhones, right? So it's kind of like they keep you in this hamster wheel and they keep telling you what to do. And you're not only accepting and getting used to it, but now you're asking to be enslaved. You have Stockholm syndrome. That's what it is. Yeah. 1,000%.
We don't know we're slaves, but what do we do? I mean, I mentioned something about drawing a line in this. Oh my God, I can't talk. Drawing a line in the sand. Okay. And where does that? Okay, first of all, have we even drawn a line in the sand? And here, the reason that sometimes we may not draw a line in the sand, because people are not awake enough to know that we need to draw a line in the sand, right? We don't. People are so asleep with a lot of this stuff. And going back to that They Live movie, it's like most people are just living their own little bubbles with their head in the sand, and they agree to paying all these taxes and working their butts off with no until they die, basically, and never enjoying life, never noticing the beauty of life, the things that we have around us, and spending time with our children and things that matter. It's just, we're just putting these hustles and grinds, and it's just very dark. You know what I mean? And so that's why we're busting out of the matrix. I'm taking y'all with me. Okay.
Oh yeah. Let's go.
We're taking us. Yeah. You and I at Trebles, we're taking everybody with us. Okay. Out of this matrix.
We're not asking for permission. We're just doing it, guys. All right.
That's right. If you're
challenging reality every single episode. One episode at a time, guys. That means one more soul in the safety bin, man. That's what it is. No more lost and found. You have been found. Oh yeah.
Well, this guy who I was referring to that wrote that book about Project Serpo, I was listening to an interview that he did, and he said, well, the way that we can kind of escape all this or get out of this reptilian empire takeover of this planet, which they say that it is. And if the more of these like videos that we see of like people glitching out and looking like they're reptilians, hearing voices that sound like, reptilian style voices. I showed a lot of examples on that show the other day. A celebrity saying, people, some of their fans saying, well, they turned into a 12-foot tall reptilian Godzilla, right on stage. And people are like, well, how does that even happen? Well, I don't know. Liquid crystal mask, maybe. I don't know. But they say that it's not everybody that has to wake up from this matrix and bust out of this. It's just enough of us, as many as possible. When we wake up to it, maybe we can make some changes. Okay, because once we start waking up and we raise the consciousness of everybody on this planet, they start glitching out and exposing themselves. Just saying.
You know what's funny that you mentioned the liquid crystal mask and the shape-shifting, and at least what you call it, camo holographic.
Yes.
Do you remember when I told you before we started recording about the Lisa Lam, the chick that was, I want to say, murdered at the Cecil Hotel? Mm-hmm. So the reason she was at the Cecil Hotel, she was from Canada, by the way. She was a college student. She was only 20 something, very young chick. The reason she was down in LA was because she was investigating a military application technology building that was creating holographic technology for military applications. Mm-hmm. And she was down here in LA investigating that. And you know where she stayed? At the Cecil Hotel. Do you know where that building was located? Right next to the Cecil Hotel, right inside that parameter that you talked about in the beginning.
No way.
1000%. I just remember, and that's part of the investigation that I did, the research I did.
There. Okay.
It's massive, bro. It's massive. Now I'm not saying that this is what it is now, but she died. I think she died like 10 years ago almost. And then there's documentaries on Netflix, very fluffed up stuff. But the stuff that I found out was I did a deep dive even on the lid of that water tower, which is 80 pounds. She was an 80-pound Asian chick. It was a 15-foot water tower. That means she had to be inside naked, okay, induced or whatever. And then she had to float and then pull the freaking lid over her own body while she floated and then died. She didn't even have any water in her lungs. She didn't die out of she didn't. She died. She didn't die out of suffocation. She was already dead by the time she was in the water. She didn't have any water in her lungs. And then the cops didn't even give her a rape kit or like treated her blood for any other type of a party drug. They only said that she was off her meds. Interesting. Man, yeah, dude, I'm telling you, so many things. Yeah.
That's sad. Well, maybe we can blow the lid off of some things tonight. Okay.
I'm down.
I don't know.
I'm down.
I know this might be a little dangerous, and I hope the person who told me this stuff is okay with me showing some pictures. If I see you in here tonight, just please send me a message privately if you don't want me to show some of these pictures that you sent me today. Okay.
That's great.
And I'll check my phone. Okay. But you got 3 minutes. Okay. But anyways. Oh my God. Let's go there. Okay. Because there's actually a little, I'm going to say an Instagram short. What do they call it? They call those shorts, right? Going around that I saw that somebody had sent me today. And they're talking about how the mayor had a lockdown order, like a curfew, a lockdown I think it's from 8 at night till 6 in the morning of the square mile, like a perfect square. And I don't have it on a map, y'all, but of downtown LA. And we were saying, Trebles, it was like the Skid Row, the fashion district, the art district, and some underground places there, right?
Which is where the beginning of that, from that hotel and backwards, where the fashion district, that's a very poor area. Well, okay. During the day, during the night, it's very active with all the freaking entities and drugs and all that crazy stuff.
Yes. Let me take a short commercial break. Kent, the Loosh is just it's the energy that we put off when we are in fear. Okay, heightened senses. Okay, anything that, like, let's just say like a football game. You go to a football game. There's a reason they put these. What do you call them? Like stadiums at certain points, like I think they're on ley lines and stuff, but it's the places of power. What's underneath? We need to start looking into what's underneath all of these stadiums, because there's so much energy generated there from people that are either mad or they're happy. It's up and down. It's energy of just emotional It's emotional energy, emotional drainage out of our bodies, basically,
Mm-hmm.
on an energetic level. And that is used as a power source and a food for parasitic entities. Okay.
Think about it as almost like Monsters Inc. If you ever seen a movie, they would scare the kid, and the voice, the frequency of the voice, they would suck it up, and then they would use it to power their entire city. Exactly like that. They're stealing your Luch, your frequency, your voice, your intent, and also the way that at the same time when you guys are all under that same frequency, and we're all singing for that one thing, and we're pouring all our attention for that one home run, that all of that energy gets concentrated. That's what they harvest. The energy.
They're energy harvesting. That's exactly what it is. And it does have to do with adrenaline as well. So thank you, Moondog. That's right. Okay, so about one square mile, and so you got to wonder, like, why are they locking this down? You know, of course, people would just assume it's because of the riots, right? The riots, the civil unrest, whatever. I think a lot of this is choreographed. Okay, and it's all set up, and that's just because I am a conspiracy theorist, and this is for entertainment purposes only. But there's something bigger. There's always an agenda, right, Trebles?
Yes,
always an
1000%.
agenda. Okay, always an agenda. Okay, well, I got contacted by a friend this morning. Okay, and let's talk about this for a second, because he was actually part of a project to build an entrance of an underground city right at that exact location back in the 1980s. It took, he said, it's like a transfer station for goods and supplies, is what he said. He said they built two city caverns in LA. The biggest is under the blimp hangar. Where are the blimp hangars in Tustin? Do you know where that is?
No.
Okay.
What?
Well, y'all can look that
Okay, so
up.
that's Old Town LA, the blimp hangars, because I guess it would come. I gotta look that up.
Okay.
I'm gonna look that up right now.
Everybody can look that up. Okay. I haven't gotten any messages to not keep going. Okay. So, but anyways, it says they worked on these things for 2 years, 24/7. They never stopped working on them. It was a constant, a constant project that was going on. And they said millions of acres were opened up trying, tying in actually to older caverns, which crisscross throughout LA. Okay, so they're boring, like a boring company, not boring like, oh my god, it's so boring. Okay, boring. They take these huge machines and they drill holes in the ground, like caverns and caves and things like that. Okay, and so can you imagine 2 years, two whole years, never stopping, boring holes all the way through under Los Angeles and going through the old caverns. And I was like, okay, is this like the lizard people city as well? And I didn't get an answer back to that, but I'm assuming yes, that's what it was. Now, for people who are not familiar with the lizard people city, all right, let's see. I think I've got some maps here. Okay, this is kind of what it looks like. Let me read what this is. Okay, the ancient lost lizard people city, or lost lizard city. This is under New York. Not New York, y'all. Sorry, LA. LA. Okay, I just did the lizard man of New York the other day. Okay, so that was another lizard people story. But this is the ancient lost lizard city under LA in California. In 1934, geological engineer Warren Shufelt reported to the LA Times that he had discovered the remnants of an ancient reptilian civilization under Los Angeles. He claimed he found the deep underground city using radio X-ray and Native American lore. According to the legend, the radio X-ray has revealed the location of one of 3 lost cities on the Pacific coast, the local one having been dug by the lizard people after the Great Catastrophe, which occurred about 5,000 years ago. A huge tongue of fire came out of the southwest, destroying all life in its path, and they had to go underground. The city underground was dug as a means of escaping future fires. So we wanted to know, like, what the truth was behind this. Like, were they actual reptilians? Because the storyline that was put out to the public was like, well, it was just people kind of like the ant people, which were actually humans that just went underground, and they were called the lizard people because they lived like lizards, like figuratively, not literally. Okay, in underground. But then you get pictures of like, I don't know if, well, I didn't pull the picture up, but you can see on right at the top up there, there's actually like a drawing what looked like people with lizard heads. Okay, and that was from Native American lore. So yeah, what do you think about that? I mean, isn't this cool? I think it's cool. It's a little scary too.
I did a little light research, and I'm gonna bring it up now.
Okay.
So there was this G. Warren Schaffelt did during the same time that this was discovered. He did radio X-ray. Schaffelt was a mining engineer that claimed that his homemade device detected underground voids and even golden tablets. Then he drilled 250 feet and then later up to 75 meters before the project was abandoned. Then he said that he found a key room and 37 gold tablets, allegedly beneath the Broadway, which is the street, and 2nd Street. This room contained 37 gold tablets, 4 by 14, and inscribed with the civilization's history. Then you have what I told you about the Dodger Stadium, allegedly sprawling. This is a huge tunnel network that it's now the Dodger Stadium is the head of the lizard, and then the tail, the entire cave system goes all the way down to the central library, which is the end of the lizard, the tail, basically. So it's in the shape of a snake, basically, underground. Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, gold. Imagine like going down there and find those big, heavy chunks of gold doors and things like that. And it's been untouched for so long. Like what happened to the lizard people that lived down there? Where'd they go? That's my question.
Well, they probably came up and they're amongst us now. I'm gonna be honest with you. Gold is one of the best conductors out there. You have gold now in every single piece of technology, right? The ancients used gold on their robes. They used to go on their technology for everything. So to fine tune their frequency before they died, kind of like the Egyptians. The Egyptians died with cross-handed with tools in their hands, so that their frequency could be vibrating and then ascend to the next dimension using gold, because we're all electric. It's funny. I think you're onto something here. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I love connecting dots. Okay.
You know what?
Connecting dots.
There's another dot that I want to touch on the prohibition. So modern tunnel realities, Los Angeles does have numerous tunnels, natural formations of oil and gas pockets, and prohibition era smuggling shafts. So guys, to this day, those places do exist, but this is beyond that. This is probably a network that they were able to tap into and then transport their I want to call them goods.
Exactly. Human. Exactly. Human. Because what are these people eating? These things. What are they eating? Probably us. Okay. And
the way you say that, probably us.
Probably us.
100% us.
Yeah.
Just for entertainment purposes.
They like that blood. Okay. Actually, as a matter of fact, if you guys want to tune in next Wednesday, I do have my good friend Matthew Mornian coming on the show. And you know, I know people have said I give the Reptilians a bad rap, y'all. Okay. And I love having conversations about that. And so we're going to bring Matthew on Wednesday. We're going to talk about the lighter side of the Reptilians. Okay. Because not all of them are bad. Okay. And we're going to get all that information from Matthew. I talk about the ones that want to eat us usually. Okay. But there's others as well. I actually have a friend who, a good friend of mine. We were actually all together at a location. I'm not going to give all that away. We were at a location and somebody snapped a picture of him, and his pupils were slits in that picture. Yeah. And he always told me, he's like, well, I'm a Draco reptilian. And I was like, okay, that's cool. But then when I saw that picture, I was like, oh, I think you might be.
You're a Draco reptilian.
Yeah. And I was wondering, like, well, how would that happen? Like, how would his eyes just change like that? And they say it's because of the frequencies, trebles, okay, frequencies and emotions and frequencies and tones. So there we go. We can also get into the bells, right? Bells. Why do we not have bells anymore?
Exactly. Old Town. Yes. They said that they were being used to make bullets and stuff. No, they eliminated the bells out of our cities, and not only our cities, but all over Europe, because they were attuning us and healing us with frequency. Guys, cathedrals have acoustic properties on their walls. There's a reason why when you hum, it resonates and it makes you feel some different way. People used to have these bells not only resonating and healing them through the inside, but healing their emotions and healing them from illnesses. This is why we're all sick now. Why are we the sickest country in the freaking planet? Because we're not attuned to anything but to negativity. We don't even know what worshiping is anymore, because it's also been twisted, with it's like a wasted image, man. And then you have even the pigmentations of the glass. The glasses have, again, going back to light therapy, the glasses, if every single glass pattern that you see on a cathedral back then in the day, ancient stuff and ancient buildings, you would see that they had different specific color patterns. And so when the light comes from the east and it just blasts through that light, through those windows, and you were getting blasted by that light, you were getting natural light therapy to fix the coughs, to fix to regenerate yourself and regenerate wounds and all that stuff. So look into light therapy and acoustic properties and how the ancients used it, not only to heal but also to weaponize it, which is what they have mastered.
Yes, and they say the cathedrals were actually sound frequency centers. That's what cathedrals used to be. They
were sonic engineers. These people were, these guys were freaking amazing at what they did. This is what we're not gonna ever replicate it, because that knowledge has been tainted and twisted and then held from us. Now they just control our time.
And some of it's just so simple too, and that's been kind of held back from us. Rose Thistle, no, his eyes did not close sideways. I don't think. He just looks like a regular normal human. Okay. But I don't know. I've never seen it. I was looking at him pretty hard last time I saw him. I was like, I'm watching you. I'm watching your eyes. but anyways, yeah, you never know. You never know. I mean, we even have people that are in the chat tonight that have sent me private messages letting me know that they change into werewolves and stuff. So we have a very diverse audience here. It's not only the best on the internet, it's very diverse. Okay.
I love them.
Yeah, it's amazing. We do. We have a great audience. Okay, let's get back to the tunnels under Los Angeles. I have more information. Okay, and I still haven't gotten any messages to stop. So I'm going to keep going. Okay. So I was told that these tunnels where the entrances, where that lockdown was, right there in that little square mile, there's actually an entrance right there to an underground city. Pretty big underground city that it actually goes from Las Vegas to Northern California too. Okay, Vegas to Northern California is like where this tunnel goes. And I was told that Elon, our friend Elon Musk, I guess, has the largest boar company out there actually. And I'd heard about Tesla having like underground tunnels where people who drive Teslas can drive down there, but only their cars under LA. Yeah. You hadn't heard that?
I've heard about people, only the elites being able to, transfer goods or themselves under these tunnels, but not only Tesla cars. There's a lot of Teslas on the freaking road here, annoyingly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're actually, there's more underground apparently. So get yourself a Tesla and find out. I mean, I don't know. I like gas powered cars personally.
Same.
So I would not want to have to sit there and lose my battery charge. I'm so over battery charging and stuff. I have to get a new battery charger for my phone like every month because they go bad. Okay. Imagine having to do that in your car. I don't know. Shout out to everybody in the chat that has Teslas. Good for y'all. But I'm going to try not to ever get a battery unless somebody wants to give me one. I'll drive it. Okay.
Well, if it's a free gift, I mean, you can't say no to a gift. But you even that, I think, even that, like almost like I don't want to beat this horse, but guys, if you look at it, they want you to charge it at a certain time. They want you to only charge it one time a week. They want you to drive on the road and then charge you for the mileage that you already paid for charging the car to drive on the road for. And then you could only go 50 miles out because your car is not allowed to go in this different area. And then they want you to pay for that too. And then you have to keep consuming everything in electricity. The car has to be connected to the hub at all times. So it's just about controlling, man. It's just about controlling everything that you do. And it starts with the luxury of an electric car.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could, I'd just stick to my old model. Like my dad has a garage full of old cars, like Mustangs, and he's got a Model T. And I'm like, man, I wouldn't mind driving a Model T. Okay. If worst comes to worst, you'll see me driving a Model T, y'all, across. I think going back and driving the old stuff is going to be better when everything, if we ever do get like attacked, let's just say like an EMP or something happens. I don't think hopefully it'll never happen, but who knows, y'all. Can never be too safe. Okay, never can be. But yeah, but so Elon apparently owns like one of the biggest boring companies out there, and I think he makes a lot of money doing that, probably more than any other way. But I was told there's even tunnels like to Greenland, to Alaska, you name it. There's tunnels everywhere. This is way bigger than I would ever even think. Okay.
Well, Greenland has, I think, one of the biggest reservoirs of seeds and people's DNA. So they have a giant bunker. Have you ever seen the movie Greenland?
No.
So it's about a giant meteor that comes in, it hits the earth, and then everybody that's anyone important gets extracted out of the country globally on a global scale. And then they get taken into Greenland. And people that they try to have people that are not like necessarily sick or have any type of illnesses. So what they do is they bring them in. But still to this day, guys, look it up. Hashtag look it up. I like to say on the show. Greenland has one of the biggest deposits of seeds, human DNA, some of the elite's DNA, and I only wonder why. I mean, I guess because of a catastrophe, right? They're probably going to repopulate the earth and then bring back all the stuff. But I mean, this is huge. It's huge, and I think tunnels are there also. This is why everybody wants to fight over that piece of land.
Yeah, or maybe they're planning on merging humans with machines. And
that's already 1,000%.
It's crazy, all this stuff. I mean, here on my channel, we really dive into cryptids and clones. And I mean, I talk about everything, obviously. I try to keep it spicy. We keep a variety going. Every show is different. Okay. But we do talk about the transhumanist movement and why some of, when I'm doing these like remote viewing targets, they're blind. And I've gotten like, that means that I don't know what they are. I get a set of numbers and I do, I get a bunch of data on whatever these targets are. And a lot of times when it's like cryptids, sometimes I have gotten like DNA sampling and, like the giant of Kandahar. I believe that was on purpose. They knew they were going there to obtain a sample of a giant for cloning purposes. DNA samples. They had a helicopter on standby to get the giant out of there. Okay. How would they have known, how would they have had a net that big, first of all, on standby with a helicopter waiting to get it out of there? So what my question is, like, what is the purpose? Why are they cloning? Why are they replicating all these cryptids, giants? I mean, are they, even with Dogman, we talk about a Dogman breeding program that goes on here in the United States. One of the biggest
scientific findings, I can't even talk now. We're shifting. we pass over that little ball.
I had that earlier. Yeah.
One of the archaeologists in the 1940s, I'll pull it up and I'll pull up my notes. When I found this, the research that I was doing about the Olmecs, we found out that they were playing God and they were gene splicing with were-jaguars. So people were actually transforming themselves half man into a half feline entity. And this is the Olmecs, guys. The Olmecs is one of the 6 oldest civilizations in the world, one of the most impactful ones. They ruled Mesoamerica, and they impacted not only the Aztecs, the Incas, and the Mayans, but abroad. They were gene splicing. This is one of the scientific findings that they found. They left the technology imprinted into stone. That was still to this day, when you rub those stones, they're called Sardinia stones, not only from that area of the planet, but it's an art. I want to call it an exposition of stones that they found from different civilizations. When you rub these stones together and you rub them up, they project a sound frequency, a healing sound frequency. But the point is, the reason I want to answer that question, the reason that they are obsessed, like the Greeks, they have minotaurs, they've had the harpies, right? Pixies. You have all these type of entities that are have man, have animal, have human hybrid stuff. It's because what they're trying to do is first of all, taint the blood. when I started this episode, I talked to you about the omics and how they were trying to get into the organic algorithm of the earth by using your biometrics. You know who else spilled blood using his biometrics so that he can open up another dimension where you and I can be saved? Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
It's not all this has been in repetition. So the point of that is these elites, people that know wave function and the art of duality, when they have this wisdom, they have been able to weaponize it so that they can replicate what God did, create abominations, Nephilim agenda. It's a blood war, technically, just like in the days of Noah. Now you don't even know what's real or not. You got freaking lizards with crystal masks on. Yeah. You know, see what I'm saying? Just like in the days of Noah, you're talking about a giant. You're talking about gene splicing. You're talking about the there it is. Wow, that looks horrible.
I know, right? I know. Check this out. This is our local politician. I mean,
oh look, it's Gavin Newsom,
right? Yeah, right. It's Newsom. I mean, but these even go back as far as, I mean, this was in a temple in Japan. Okay,
look at that.
Yeah, this is nothing new. It's nothing new. Yeah,
absolutely. So they've been doing it for ages. For ages.
They have.
And then once they connect us into technology, you know what's going to happen? They're going to try to avoid judgment.
Yeah. Look at this. We're all going to be glitching out. I'm just kidding.
You can't even tell what's real and what's fake anymore. It's crazy.
You can't. Yeah. It's
the story of the duende. He transferred his essence into his son, into Emilio's son. Wow. So that alone, that tells you again, they play on to the mission is to play on and what's it called? Inject themselves into the bloodline.
You know, I bring this movie up quite a bit too. That movie with Denzel Washington, where it's like Fallen, I think, and it's like he walks by. I showed a clip on it. I posted it to my Instagram the other day because I reference that movie so often because I've actually seen like entities jumping from body to body in my life, like with people around me before, and whether they were standing right in front of me or online or something, it was the same entity in both people, okay, that I've experienced, and that movie shows it perfectly. So there's also, consciousness transfer, dark entities jumping from body to body. There's so much weird stuff out there, and people who are into the dark arts are fully aware of that, and that includes our government. And this is for entertainment purposes only. Okay, the darker side of this. I mean, I have a friend in the chat right now who is a former Marine, once a Marine, always a Marine, right?
Yeah.
But he's told me about how he practiced the dark arts in the military. As part of the military work that he did.
Yo,
yes.
What?
Yes. And
very interesting.
If he would like to say hello, he said, "Hey, what's up? What's up, Caleb?" So yeah. It's in, what is that? Michael Aquina, was that his name? That one guy who was like yes, there's my friend Caleb right there, actually. He says the giants that are near the surface are not very smart, more like living sentinels. The ones that are dangerous were found way deeper. Yeah.
Look at
Caleb
that.
He has his own YouTube channel now, y'all. Go subscribe over. It's Caleb Jade over on YouTube. And Caleb knows a lot about this stuff. And that's who I was just referring to. Okay. And
I'm gonna have to shout out Caleb and then try to reach out to this dude, man. Yeah.
Yeah. He talks about the Shinkana, I think is how you pronounce that. But inner earth and inner earth beings and things like that. I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about today, right? With the lizard people, the lizard people city. And we got to wonder, like, where are all these things coming from? I mean, I'm getting to where I believe that even ETs come from inner earth and stuff.
Well, they're coming out of the water. If you look at this on a biblical lens, when Jesus talked to that man that was possessed by legion, he goes, "Get out of that man," and the demons asked him, "Can we please don't cast us into the abyss? Can we go into the pigs?" They got into the pigs, and you know what the pigs did? They killed themselves and threw themselves into the water, into the sea, into the depths. Yeah. So again, why would you want to go back into the inner earth? Why back onto the underwater, right? So I'm just saying, connecting dots here.
Yeah.
I'm a little paranoid, but hey, inner Earth, that's where the rest of them are. Extraterrestrials, all that crazy stuff.
Ultra terrestrials is what they
Ultra
are.
terrestrial.
Yeah, you know, I have a buddy from my hometown who contacted me and said that he was in the Navy for his entire career, basically, and he contacted me and was telling me that when they were on their ship out in the ocean, they used to watch UFOs come in and out of the ocean often. Okay, so what does that say? You know, they say some people say the outer space is actually the ocean. Gosh, I know.
Well, we know more about this. How dare you talk about space? We know more about
Right?
space than the sea, man. You know, we've only explored what 20% of the sea. It's retarded, man.
I think it's like 10 or something. It's ridiculous.
It's
But
faking gay.
why would that be though? You know, it's because they don't want us to know about it. They, you know, I guess.
Effect.
Yeah, yeah. And you got to think of the whole interdimensional aspect of it as well and all that stuff. So Caleb said there's a lot to learn. My goodness, yes, there's a lot to learn because we don't know. I don't know nothing about nothing. Okay.
I gotta. The more you think you know, the more you find out you don't know crap.
Exactly. You know what? That's from that. Those are the words of a wise person right there. I can respect that because that's what I always say. I'm like, you know, the more that I've learned, the less I know. And I used to think I had all this stuff figured out, and I don't at all. And yeah. I mean, I was even sent some, you know, pictures of some like ammunitions plants and things like that. I don't even know if I should show all this stuff tonight. So
well, he hasn't replied to you, right? You want to give him a little bit more time before?
No, I think we're fine. I think we're fine. Let me check real quick. I mean, I think it'll be fine. Yeah, I hadn't got any messages. Let's just do it. I guess this is for entertainment purposes only tonight, y'all. Okay, so part of some of these like underground tunnels and stuff that they were building actually connected to some of the military bases. Okay, I started sweating just now. I think I'm going to be okay with this. But some of them, you know, we hear about all these underground tunnels and the deep underground military bases, which I believe are linked to the national parks and to cryptids. Okay, chimeras, cryptids, some of the dogmen even, because when some of these remote viewing targets that I've been given, they involve government, like deep experiments being done underground and things like that, chimeras and experimental labs underground. A lot of them are underneath these, I mean, national parks. Okay, and so, I mean, it makes me wonder, like, are some of these cryptids like dogmen, let's just say, are they not super organic? Like, are they created in labs and stuff? I think so. I think some of them are. But anyways, like I said, there's a whole other world underground, and I'm trying to think of the name of this place. Let's see, maybe on here. There's like munitions places and stuff. And here's one picture. I'll show this. I've got a bunch of pictures here. Okay, this is like this is in Nevada somewhere. I can't remember the name of this place. What is this? Navarre, the Hawthorne Army ammunition place. The depot. This is a place. Supposedly there's all sorts of like tunnels going there. They say that you can see vehicles going there, but you never see them leaving. And it's because they're going in and they are disappearing into the earth, and they never have to come back out because it's all underground. Everything is underground. Okay. And by that, I mean military functions. Okay. Government functions, all that is all underground.
It's funny that you said that about Nevada. Nevada is 80% of the state is owned by the federal government. # look it up.
Really?
So there's a reason for that. Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, I just watched a really fantastic YouTube channel. It's called My Lunch Break. I love that guy is really good. He's a great researcher. And I brought this up last week too, or earlier this week. And he just put out a video today, and it was about the old world, like Tartarian, shall I say, like buildings and stuff and landmarks and underground tunnels and things. Anything that was underground, it's all been designated as federal land and, you know, national parks or military land. I think it was military. So he's talking about how the military has basically hijacked all of the old world buildings and technology and any kind of history. I've even talked about how a lot of the old world, even ancient Egyptian sites have been here in America, have been covered up by man-made lakes on purpose. Okay,
really?
so
I've heard about the Grand Canyon having
there's
some
more.
portable or entrance to the Egyptian world, but that's wicked. I could only imagine what would happen if we start uncovering some of the Egyptian secrets here in the United States. That would be wicked.
Look it up. It's Lake Norris out of Tennessee. There was an ancient Egyptian temple that was covered up, in addition to a bunch of we call them Indian burial mounds down here. Okay, but earthen mounds, the Mississippian mounds, they were excavated and then they were covered up. 23 of them just at Lake Norris alone.
It's funny, huh? Yeah, because all these mounds, everybody. This is why we put our major cities are all on big, giant. I call them Nephilim technology mounds, where people are just building and using, making sure that they are attuning to that frequency and that ley line, specific ley lines in the world. A lot of these mounds are on specific ley lines and coordinates, and you'll kind of like Washington DC. If you look at Washington DC from the top, you'll see how it's like a big old pictogram, right? It's connected in different areas, and it has the big temples on specific mountains, and they're called specific names. And a lot of the areas were Native American graveyards. Crazy stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're all on ley lines and stuff too, and so. We're slowly uncovering all this stuff, and that's really cool. Caleb, he says they use the aquifer system. They have to remain connected to water because they are sons of Poseidon. That is also how they can possess you. You're 75% water, salty like the ocean. Golly,
that's a bomb. Look at that, dude.
We hadn't even gotten into water spirits and stuff too. Okay, but that's
water
really
spirits. Dude, you're blowing my mind right now, Caleb. Right? Real stuff, man. That I gotta have you on the show. That's it.
Caleb's awesome. He's got great information for sure. Well, we've actually looked into. I remember Barry, my friend Barry Littleton, had given me some blind targets for the missing persons clusters around our national parks, and trying to figure out where all these people are going that are going missing. Okay, the ones that David Paulides covers in his book series, and he gave me these blind targets, and I remember he kept asking me, he was like, "Well, what do you think this is?" And I was like, "Well, there's something where people are being taken. It's like humans are being kidnapped or taken. They're being taken underground, experimented on, and disposed of." That's exactly what I told him. After doing several sessions of these targets over, and these are blind targets. I don't know what I'm looking at, but that was what the data was. And I kept telling them they're using some sort of submarine system too. Submarines were involved.
Where we heard that before.
Yeah, Epstein.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For entertainment purposes only, guys.
It's all tied in with the trafficking, right? And that's what they're doing. There's where all these missing people are going. It's the same. It's all connected. So, I mean, I know we're all over the board tonight, y'all. I know, but we're just all connected, right?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. It's a shame to know and to live in the era where it's harder to get. Guys, I'm not bashing on anybody. I'm not trying to make this political, but it's harder to get rid of an immigrant or deport an immigrant than to stop an abortion. And there's a reason for that, man.
Oh no. Well, that's getting kind of deep right there. This is for entertainment purposes only, y'all. Okay.
What do you think the little fetuses are going to? What do you think? Oh man.
Oh gosh, that's getting deep. I know. I try to stay away from those topics right there, but
okay.
I try just because because it's YouTube and everything. But it's nonetheless, this is all connected, y'all. And there is a whole blood. Going back to the blood, you said earlier, it's all about the blood, right? The blood comes up in all these topics. Topics. There are times where I'm remote viewing, like the Corpsewood Manor or somewhere that has like a lot of cryptid sightings, and I'll get the data. It says the land requires blood. The land requires blood, and this could all go back to like ancient times. The land requires blood. Think about all the we have Mayan ruins here in Georgia. The Aztecs were here, the Mayans, the Incas. I mean, all throughout some places here, but definitely down through Central and South America, right? And think about you hear about, I think was it the Aztecs that worship. There's like I can't remember the name. I can't pronounce it, but like a reptilian god or something, like some kind of Quetzalcoatl. That's it. Yes. Yeah. And you got to wonder, people are getting their heart ripped out and stuff, and mass casualties or sacrifices.
Biometrics. I'm telling you, they were tapping into that realm, into that dimension with biometrics by spilling the blood. You know, if you look at blood is one of the most, everybody's obsessed with hacking your DNA. Why? Because
Yeah.
blood has so much information from ancients past, from everybody that's been, again, everybody before you. So it could hold on so many. I think the next quantum computer is going to have some type of mind, kind of like Transformers, the movie. It's going to be a techno bio organism. Is that correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, crazy stuff.
Wow, that's wild. Yeah, absolutely. But the blood is a common theme with a lot of things we talk about. And and let's see, Caleb said that there is power in the blood, liquid light. Yes, and they also say that we are. I've heard that we are made of liquid crystal. Humans are. We are crystals. We're stardust, y'all. Some of us are. I don't know. I think most of us, unless you have to do a generic or like an artificial liquid crystal mask. Maybe that's where that comes from. It's liquid crystal. I mean, the technology is far more advanced than anything we're even familiar with. Okay.
Well, you know how we told you that the Olmecs were imprinting all their technology into stone. And now what do Reiki healers use and all these people that are, mediums and stuff? They use stones, right? Crystals and energy. Where do you see that too? Where does Superman talk to his family in stone, right? Ice crystals, right?
That's what vibrate. They vibrate.
Something there.
Yes, you got a good point there. And also that reminds me, I was sitting in for Dave Scott over at Spaced Radio one night. And I was his substitute one night and a couple nights, but I was able to interview Stephen and Evan Strong out of Australia. And they actually have in their possession some stones, just like you were saying earlier, these they have ancient alien technology in their stones that they have, and they have like designs in them. And the government had literally gone after them because they were trying to like confiscate their alien technology. The Smithsonian was trying to get at them too. And there were times where they couldn't even leave their house because they were afraid they were going to be arrested or taken into custody or whatever. They wouldn't hand over the stuff they have. But it was just so basic. It was stones it looked like, just ancient, some kind of hieroglyphics on them and mazes and things like just designs on them. Yeah. So, yeah.
And if you rub them together, they make noise. I'm telling you guys.
Yeah, they'll open up a portal and suck you through. Be careful. Don't rub them together. Be careful.
And then snap, you get paranormally activated, and you're gonna have to call Cryptid warfare operations to come and kill those critters.
Yeah, right.
Oh man.
I mean, when we hear about like those places, like in Peru and other places around the world, where there's just like a little stone, these megaliths you can go stand in, and I don't know if it's a portal or what, but people will like go missing from going there, and they used to do rituals there, they say, and people be transported into other worlds and dimensions. So,
I think that's what they were doing. I think at the end of the day, I think they were trying to tap into the natural organic algorithm of the earth and using the frequency by harvesting that energy, harvesting Luch, and then tap into another dimension where they could just bend light just enough to slide through that slit. And then never be seen, because there's no remnants of war. There's no significant evidence of saying that they were going through famine. It's just they disappeared. And I also think that those 17 Olmec heads are radar pings. Every single time you mention, touch them, or rub them, or speak onto them, they're sending that signal into the earth, and they know. And now they have been communicating to us and giving that duality wave function information back through our technology.
Oh my God, I think you're onto something.
I might be.
I think you've already got it all figured out. Actually, no, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. And yeah, opening the blood opens portals. Okay. And that's what I think, I've been told that actually, the places, I don't know if you're familiar with like the land between the lakes. I talk about it a lot. I actually had some friends that came on the show Thursday night to show some thermal video footage of what appears to be a dogman, a literal dogman that they had on video for 16 full minutes in the LBL. It is fantastic. I've been told that there's a lot of, maybe not a lot, there's been a good bit of rituals being done out there, like satanic rituals and stuff. A lot of cemeteries out there. I would imagine blood shed. You know what I mean? Even there's a man-made lake there. two of them, I think. There's like the land between the lakes. So lakes is plural. So I'm assuming those are two separate lakes. I don't know. But they flooded that land out years ago. And I'm sure people lost their lives over it and stuff, but they lost their property and things. And got to think of all the cemeteries that were covered up, all the history that was covered up. You know, I don't know. Why did they choose that spot too? It almost feels occultish in a way.
Never heard of that story. Spots. I gotta dive into that, man.
Yeah. Man, I mean, we could talk about this all night. I tell you what, we really could.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
think you're a fountain of information and a great host, by the way. I want to thank you again for having me on the show. And then I gotta thank all the people that have been dropping bombs. Caleb, dude, I'm not leaving anywhere before I hit up Caleb tonight. I'm gonna hit up Caleb. He's gotta be on the show. But I think every state has the Michigan Lakes are one of those. Michigan Lakes is one of those too. Also paranormally activated. There's so much mystery there. And you know what? There's been more shipwrecks and disappearances in the Great Lakes of the United States than the Bermuda Triangle.
Really?
Interesting. Yes. Well, look it up.
Well, okay, so I had oh God.
Midwest Mythos. Riley.
Yes, I had Riley on. Riley. I was trying to remember who came on. It was Riley. Riley was out in the woods with us up in East Tennessee with Harley and Drew and all them and Kevin. And we had a really good time up there, by the way, and Dog and everybody else that was up there. Shout out to Cryptid Warfare and the Cryptid operators and survivalists up there. But anyways, he came on the show. We talked about Midwest Dogman and the Michigan Triangle, and that goes right into one of the Great Lakes right there. And it is like the Bermuda Triangle.
It's you know what? It's under reported on. It has more disappearances and ghost appearances and shipwrecks and airplane dismissal. I'm telling you, this is gold. That triangle has a lot more information than the Bermuda Triangle that we could ever expect. I'm telling you, man, it's insane. But
think about what's under it, though. Think about so I was seeing actually, it looks like Stonehenge. There's like megaliths underneath that water. There's like old carvings of like mammoths and stuff. Like there's a whole bunch of hidden history down there. Ancient ruins. That's right.
Imagine what else. I'm not saying Loch Ness, because even Loch Ness is one of those areas too, and not the Loch Ness monster, because I debunked the Loch Ness monster once. Just quick, it's gonna sound like a joke, and I don't want to get disbanded, but the Loch Ness monster was actually just a whale dick. Yes, guys, it was.
Oh my gosh!
It was an orgasm. Yeah, it's.
Oh my gosh! we talked about it maybe being a dragon the other night, so there's all sorts of different theories to it. So.
Well, Leviathan, right? Leviathan's one of those freaking sea dragons. You know, one of the, and it's funny. So that area was one of the. Aleister Crowley had a house there at Loch Ness, and that's when he performed some of the opening portal rituals. And what's the name? Led Zeppelin, arguably one of the best bands in the planet. When they adopted those four names that they adopted in the front, like Sozo and all the other names that they have in front of their album covers, that's what they did. They finished and they completed Aleister Crowley's rituals in that same house, facing east, waiting for from dusk to dawn, waiting for the sun to come in, and they finished and they opened that portal, and then they were possessed by those demons. Then they had to pay homage to them. So look at the amount of success that they've had.
They were probably having a rave up in there when that happened. Yes, something like that.
Yep, something like that with a bunch of freaking demons. Oh man,
my God, they're all they were blowing up. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. And we just talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Actually, we had a whole show on the Loch Ness and Loch Ness monster. So how interesting is all this, y'all? It's all coming full circle. Big Dog, what's up? Thank you so much for being here. It's so good to see you in here tonight. Rare to catch Jessica Jones late at night. Love it. Yes, it is late, y'all. It is midnight over here on my side of the country.
Snap.
Yes, it's getting late over here on your side too, I guess, but definitely late here on the East Coast. So thank you for being here, Big Dog. I appreciate you. I hope you're doing good, and it's good to have you back in here. But man, this has been fantastic, Trebles. Thank you so much for being here tonight. And
dude, you know what? I'm gonna be completely honest with you now that I'm not sure if we're towards the end of the show, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't know what to expect. I only came here with raw information, what I know, and I'm not, guys. I'm a host. I'm not a researcher like most of the people that I have on my show. So I try to give you the best the best conversation I could. I try to stutter the least. I try to give you the most information I could, and then bounce back ideas from you. So I hope that the people also enjoyed this information, enjoyed the show, and that they continue supporting you, because you're an amazing host. And I think you still deserve a better episode from me. So I'm going to train to be better later next time.
You did awesome. I told you what I told you. I said, we're going to have fun. That's all that matters. Let's go have some fun. And I also admit, I know nothing about nothing, but I do love to talk about weird stuff. Okay. And it was great. I mean, you're amazing. I really had a great time talking to you tonight. You know a lot more than you let on. Come on now. And
Thank you.
And I appreciate you sharing your personal, your familial experiences with your great grandmother and yourself with the duende. Let me ask you one last question before we go tonight. Your great grandmother was said to have turned into a wild boar, or like a hog. Why do you think that that was the animal? Is there some significance to that as to why it was a wild pig or a boar?
You just opened a can of worms that I haven't tapped into yet. I am going to do the research on that, the significance on the boar, and what does it mean and why that. I don't think they're native to that area of the world.
I don't think so either.
Actually, yeah, they are. But boar.
Well, yes, they are. Well, I had some pictures of, because I was like, God, these things get huge. Now, this next picture is sensitive, y'all. It's just a wild pig that jumped over a truck. That's all this is, okay? It got stuck. I'm just gonna say.
Well, you know,
that's
pigs.
How big it is.
If you release a domesticated pig into the wild, it becomes a boar. It's one of the only animals that can transform into a boar and start growing the tusks and the hair, and it's weird. But I do not know what the resemblance is for witchcraft, and why. And I don't know why she chose. I don't think she got to choose it. I think it's just what the practice is. I'm not sure. Maybe it goes back to the first animal you've ever sacrificed before you got to human sacrifices. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it could be tapped into that. It's nuts.
It's just very interesting, and so I was just wondering if there's some kind of symbolism to it, or some kind of,
I do not know, but I will figure it out. But next time we speak, I'll tell you what it is.
It does feel like that's a pretty savage type of an animal, though. Actually, and that was
we've heard about snakes, owls. We've heard about different creatures, but never a boar.
I mean, you got that coming at you, and you said that she actually unalived people, right? Like she she was accused of it. Do you think she actually did it, or she was just accused of it?
No. My people that would come and ask for these favors and special things, the medium and talking to the dead, they would ask for favors. They didn't have means to pay. She would sleep with the married men. The people that she would ask they would ask favors from her. She would sleep with them, and then at night she would turn into the boar, and then she would kill these people, kill the men, specifically only men. All 15 accounts were only men. And then, the people in the town, they were afraid of her to a point where, like, you know what, F this, we're gonna stone you to death. And they stoned her to death pretty bad. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But she imprinted on my mother, so my mother was she went crazy for a while. My mother never shapeshifted, as far as I know. But yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that with us. Really, thank you for sharing that with us. I think it's fascinating, and we could all learn from it in some way too. And wow, Rose says pigs are very close to humans. Supposedly, maybe that's like an easier thing to shape into, or shape.
Well, scientists are putting pig organs into human organs nowadays. That's true. Hashtag look it up. They just recently did that. They put, I guess, pig liver into a human liver, and the body accepted it, which is freaking weird. It's nuts.
Oh my gosh. Well, some people say that pigs are actually humans mixed with wild boar. Have you heard that?
No.
Yes, that's why they say that's why some. I heard this, why some religions like say don't eat pig, because they say that it's actually.
I can't stay away from bacon, bro. Bacon is
right. I know. You know what? I'm so sorry that I even said that, because people are going to be upset about that, probably hearing that. But this is what I was told. I'm not saying it's true, okay? But that is one theory, actually, is that that pigs, the type that are on farms that we do eat, some people eat, it's actually like a chimera of a human mixed with a wild boar. So you're welcome, everybody. Go enjoy your bacon in the morning. Okay, you cannibals. I'm just kidding.
For entertainment purposes only.
Yes, entertainment purposes only. Oh my gosh. Well, Treble, thank you so much for being here tonight. Tell us where we can find you and what you got going on. Anything you'd like to promote tonight. Tell the audience.
First of all, I want to make sure that I let you guys know that I thank Lord for allowing me to be here today. And I want to thank every single one of you for allowing me to enter your space. This is not easy to do, guys. We do work hard out there in Paranoi Radio. And guys, again, I want to tell you that it is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Before it was a celebration of how many things you could fit in the back door. You know, I'm trying to keep it PG. It was Men's Mental Health Awareness Month since 1992. So make sure you check up on your brothers, check up on your sons, check up on everybody that you think that needs some help. That's all you need to do. Also, you can check us out at paranoiradio.com. Paranoiradio.com, the website, is a hub. You can find Ali Christine with setting you free from parasites. You can find Drewski from Cryptid Warfare Operations. You can find many other things. It's a hub where you could find, I call it conspiracies on training wheels for people that are not too sure. Guys, dive deep with us. And I'm dropping 3 episodes a week. I'm working hard out here. So support me. I'm not asking you for donations. I'm asking you to take 5 seconds of your day to go to the search bar and do the deep dives yourself. Don't take my word for it. Do the deep dives yourself. I know watching ads on TikTok is super cool, but this is even cooler, guys. All right, make sure you check us out. It's an amazing hub, and the website the website does not translate exactly how I feel, guys. The only reason why I am sober tonight, it's because of Paranoi Radio podcast. I dive deep and I bleed, eat, and shit paranoid. This is everything I got. It means the world to me, not only to be here, but just to share my platforms with everybody else and my stories. And we have a great, amazing guests on the show every single week. We also have religious leaders. I'm gonna have Kent Hovind on real soon, and Dr. Laura Sanger, Ale Marzulli. We are connected with some of the big names also. So from little to small, and we're just making a ruckus out there. So make sure you check us out. Thank you so much, Miss Jones. You are a beast in every positive way of the word. An amazing host. You have an amazing channel. All your listeners, everybody that contributed words and ideas and money, everything that you do is beautiful. And I hope and I wish and I pray that everything that you touch and everything that you are and everything that you do brings you wealth and health for you and your kids and your family, and also for all the listeners that are listening here today. Mad blessings, mad love and respect.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Trebles. That is so cool. I really do appreciate you. And y'all saw his that's their website. Okay, paranoiradio.com. I was showing some of it. We saw our buddy Drewski on there, and you have a shop and everything with some merch and all that. So you guys go show some love, show your support, and go follow Trebles and his crew over on Paranoi Radio podcasts on podcasting platforms and on their website.
Absolutely free.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, please come back and hang out with us again. Will you come back, please, one day? Okay.
I will.
Okay. Perfect. Awesome. And we'll have an episode out over on your podcast here pretty soon, within the next couple weeks.
Wednesday this week coming up. Mm-hmm.
Yay. Okay. Well, y'all go check that out too. So this is perfect promotion right now for that. Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Everybody who's in the chat, to all my mods, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Jackie, for gifting all those memberships earlier tonight. Thank you, Kent, for the super sticker. And also Big Dog 5758. Thank you so much. I think that was Mark, actually. Thank you so much. If I'm not mistaken, but Big Dog, thank you for that donation tonight as well. And I want to thank everybody for being here. We went all around the world tonight, full circle. And I think that was a lot of fun. And I learned a lot. I really did. I learned a lot tonight, actually. And so thank you so much, Trebles. Again, you guys, please come back and see me on Monday. I will be back. We have a full plate next week. I've already got all my guests lined up, and it is going to be fantastic. Come back and see me next week. Y'all have a wonderful, safe rest of your weekend. Happy Father's Day, Trebles. And happy Father's Day.
Thank you. We're here. Thank you. Yes.
Gosh, I came close to forgetting about that. Okay.
Officially the first person that told me so far.
Thank you. Well, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. I know we're going to go see my dad tomorrow. And maybe, of course, I had to go buy some Bigfoot stuff today to go take my dad. I know he's probably not watching, so I can tell you all that. But happy Father's Day, y'all. And enjoy your special day tomorrow. And have a great night, y'all. Trebles, please stay safe out there over in LA. Watch your six. Okay. Mm-hmm. And holler back at us anytime. Okay. have a great night, y'all. Don't live in fear, everybody. Okay. Just live in awareness and take care of yourselves. I'm sending all my love and light to you guys. And I will see you guys back here on Monday. All right. Bye, y'all. Bye.